What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're for episode 43 of our Madden 24 Arizona Cardinals franchise mode, the off-season after perfection. An undefeated regular season for the Cardinals. We went on and we won the Super Bowl in a dominating old-school fashion. Coming off a record-breaking season where B.J. Ojulari had 48 tackles for loss, 36.5 sacks, was fourth in MVP voting. But for as long as this series goes on, he is the league MVP. He is the rightful MVP this year. Well, in the Super Bowl, he scared Aaron Rodgers into retirement. You can't even see him here anymore. That is really what happened. The actual MVP, Kyler Murray, played all right, but it was more so the run game. It was more so playing outstanding defense where Ojulari got 5 TFLs, 5 sacks. And let's be honest, on these 3 sacks for Boogie Basham, at least 2 of them were assists to Ojulari, getting pressure off his side. And Aaron Rodgers was right into Boogie Basham's lap. So Ojulari is the best player in the league. He is the MVP. He was the Super Bowl MVP. And I think this young core that we have here in Arizona, that's why we're going to run it back again. Usually in my Madden franchise modes, when we win a Super Bowl, I move on. I do something else. But kind of reading the room a little bit in the comments, I think a big part is how we've drafted. The young players we've been able to bring on both sides of the football, I genuinely think more so than starting fresh, more so than starting a brand new rebuild, brand new franchise, I'm more interested to see not only when are we going to lose again, but more so when and where are all these young players going to go? What is the ceiling of this team? Can we actually end up making an absolute God squad? On the offensive side, we've drafted an 81 center, an 83 guard, a 99 X Factor tight end. That was more you guys. I'll always give you guys the credit on the Marcus House picks. We had to trade up to go get him. We traded Trey McBride, who obviously now is an amazing tight end for the Arizona Cardinals in real life. He was amazing for us. He actually went up to a superstar dev. He was that good for us. But you guys said we have to get this House guy, so I ended up trading him to get House, and the rest is history. House is one of the best weapons in the NFL. Oh, yeah, his backup this year, rookie. Oh, another superstar tight end. We drafted a superstar wide receiver. We got Roosevelt Bonds, who developed into a 93 X Factor. I got a freaking superstar kicker. But it gets even better on the defensive side of the ball. Outside of the emergence of homegrown talent. Jalen Thompson, Owen Popo, Zaven Collins has been great. Marco Wilson, Garrett Williams have developed into superstar players. We're getting great production out of Milton Williams, who we signed in free agency. Boogie Basham, who we traded for. But the rookie, Silas, 83 star dev, rookie. Kenny Hodges up to a 97 X Factor, was our #1 overall pick a year ago. Duval, who we drafted as a superstar, up to an X Factor. And obviously, the great Ojulari, who is certainly one of the greatest pass rushers of all time. I will say, though, 36.5 sacks this year. Someone tagged me on Twitter. They had a sim season with Myles Garrett, where he also had 36.5 sacks. So it is insane knowing, I got this with Ojulari. Yes, we're playing on all Madden. Yes, we're playing on the consensus all Madden sliders. But I still was using Ojulari all the time. And when you have a player that you use all the time that goes in X Factor, you have a little bit of fun with it. It's still insane knowing that, I made Ojulari have that kind of season. And then there's still players that can get that naturally, organically in the sim every now and again is absolutely insane. But the fact that this team is this good, and we've built this team this good, it truly does feel like it'd be a disservice for us to just ride off into the sunset. Let's run it back. We could run it back multiple more years. We could literally just run this series back to 100 freaking episodes up until when the new Madden drops. I don't know yet. But all I know for sure is we are going for another season. We are going to defend our championship. We're going to go into this offseason. We are going to dominate. We're going to have a hell of a free agency. Maybe we'll trade some players. I'm not leaning that way, but we'll see. We're going to have an outstanding draft. I literally just spent 2 hours before I hit this goddamn record button going through the entirety of the draft class. Now, it was a little premature because we're not at the combine yet, and there's certain combine numbers that we might need to look, and I was kind of just basing a lot of this on what the projections are for the physicals. I'm looking for players that have great to elite in certain categories. But I've gone through. We got ourselves a draft board. I got ourselves some studs. Look at this. You think I'm taking days off? You think it's just we've won the Super Bowl. We'll kind of just go through the motions of the draft. I went through UDFAs, day 3 picks, second round picks, third round picks. We are going to dominate this draft. We're going to find more superstars, more X Factors, more hidden devs, more superstar talent, and we're going to win another Super Bowl. I guarantee it. So the first piece of business we didn't handle in this offseason is, well, we're a victim of our success. Our OC and DC have gone on and got head coaching jobs, so we need to figure out. On the offensive side, we're going to go with maybe the more realistic, less cheesy option, as there is a OC that has quarterback guru. And if you don't know what a quarterback guru is, you're obviously not watching my stuff. Quarterback guru essentially will give your quarterback +3 in short, medium, and deep accuracy, and each +3 throw power, which is a gigantic boost. Like at minimum, you're getting a +2, +3 right onto your quarterback's base overall. And with Kyler Murray coming off a season where he got 50 touchdowns and league MVP, it probably just makes sense to like, let's go quarterback guru, let's rock and roll. But the fact of the matter is, maybe we go something a little more realistic. Ben Johnson is from the Detroit Lions, and we have an offensive coordinator here in Nick Eggery who has the Detroit Lions background. So it seems like this would be a likely hire for Ben Johnson. IRL, you know, obviously the connection. Nick Gregory was probably a member of the Detroit Lions staff with Ben Johnson. So to give us maybe a little bit more challenge, maybe to diversify the offense, to trust Kyler Murray, we are going to not go QB guru, because obviously we're coming off an undefeated season. We don't need to cheese when we have to. And I'm also cashing that in. I'm going to get my good faith by not going QB guru, because on the defensive coordinator side, I'm disappointed. I saw, and we looked at the last episode, D'Amico Ryans got fired by the Houston Texans. I would give him our DC job, because clearly he's probably not going to get it and walk right into another head coaching gig. However, there's no one else available. There is literally, I got two options at defensive coordinator. They're both running 3-4 schemes, and kind of how we've treated this would be, you know, I rock and roll with the scheme I'd bring in, and I'm just not. There's zero freaking interest in wanting to switch my defense to a 3-4. So the good karma I get by not hiring the QB guru, I'm going to cash that in and not switch to a 3-4 scheme just because I'm at the mercy of the two guys that are freaking available. So with that, kind of looking at these two DCs, we have man corners. All three of our starting corners are man. So I think we have to go with Scott Anderson to give those guys the best schematic fit. But again, we're going to stay in our 4-3. So look at the skill trees here quickly. We have 284 points. We have O-line guru, which is never a bad thing, giving us more time for Kyler Murray to do his thing. We have power running. I think Roosevelt Bonds. It's not a bad tree, but it's fairly generic. We don't really use fullbacks. So like one side of the tree is pretty useless. I don't think we need to worry about that too much. We still get, look at that right there though, vertical threat. This maybe is a little bit of karma. I said we weren't going to necessarily cheese it per se, but look, we can get still +3 deep accuracy for Kyler. We can get +3 throw power for Kyler, which, hey, I'll take it. +3 throw under pressure for Kyler. What's the bottom one? Catching. A straight up upgrade across the board for catching. That's pretty good. As you can see, we pretty much just spent all of our freaking points. On the defense side, we have linebacker guru, which is not bad at all. That's going to be good for, from our scheme standpoint. See, this is where you're getting the 3-4 a little bit. But if we go on the other side, it's going to help our linebackers for sure. Zone coverage is going to be a good one. That's pretty good. Hit power, acceleration. Our linebackers can get even faster. We have our secondary here. We definitely go down the right-hand side. Sometimes you get the good roll where you can bump up your corner speed, but we only got the agility and man coverage. Oh, this is a good one, though. Speed for outside linebackers. That could certainly help Zaven Collins. Speed for free safety. I mean, these are good rolls, honestly, all things considered. But with where we're at, I think we'll spend our remaining points here on the offensive line. What do we got? Pass block power for centers, left and right guards, left and right tackles. So we'll invest there on the offensive line a couple times there. But I like both these trees, and I can't wait to earn a lot more stat points because I really think both of them, offensively and defensively, flushed out, got to be massive help for this team. We have about $51 million of available salary cap. We're going to pick up the fifth-year option of Paris Johnson Jr., who I think next year before comes rookie, he's going to be into the 90s, which is all I can ask for, as he was like the big-name rookie when we start this franchise. Outside of that, though, with our $51 million, our plan was always to look tackle early and get a successor for DJ Humphries. I think that's going to be what we're going to do. Phase him out just a little bit. Everyone else here is just solid depth. Cam Thomas earned a dev trait in season last year, lost it. Just one of those things, like probably, it is what it is. Lost his dev trait, and that kind of is the right on the wall. Mapletron made some plays for us, stepped up when we needed to, made a couple big-time clutch catches. Maybe did enough to get paid somewhere else. I just feel like with the depth of our wide receiver room right now, we did struggle with injuries. We definitely want depth, but I honestly think, you know, if the market's not that great, we might be able to get him back at a lower number than that $11 million over the next 2 years. So I think we're going to gamble a little bit that if the market dictates that we probably should bring Claypool back, because he made plays, I don't even think there's any bad drops, any bad plays. The narrative around him IRL did not carry into this Cardinals franchise. But interest is there to bring him back. I'm glad that he wants to come back. I just don't want to bring him back at that number. So before we go to free agency, the Combine has started. We will get some pro day numbers, but generally the Combine gives you an idea of where you're looking at. Both these quarterbacks have great and or elite throw power. We're not really looking for a backup QB. Clayton Tune is here. We got running backs, the AAA on Alex McGee for a day 3 pick. He had a chance getting elite speed, tested fine. That could be a nice player. His elite strength. We have Jordan Newman, who gives us a little bit more speed. But honestly, like, I'm just looking for athletes at this point that if our board gets shot, we can look at potentially bringing them in. Obviously, at the running back spot between Roosevelt Bonds and Calvin Austin, we feel pretty good about what's going on there. We got a lot of wide receivers. Whether or not we got any freaks, didn't get much here at wide receiver. Got some speed guys late. That's really all they're offering. I mean, wide receiver's not a gigantic need for us anyways. Crompton was a guy that I was considering, has the profile, had the base ratings that we're looking for. Ran a 4.36, but not a whole lot in terms of elite athleticism. So wide receiver, I think that will be something that we're definitely not going to invest in early pick. But, you know, never know. Day 3, get some speed. Tackle, replacing DJ Humphries. That's where we did all of our homework. And, you know, got some guys here. Got first-round talent type players. Don't necessarily know if they're all going to be available. Looks like they're likely going to have to be trade-up candidates. I mean, none of the, you know, nothing freaky, to be honest with you, out of these top ones. Jaquan Devine might be one of the rare cases just because he has the elite change of direction, but still athletically speaking, you know, none of these guys are absolute freaks. Kind of just is what it is. We do have Dante Robinson, but he's a top 5 projection. He's going to be gone. Does have the elite speed, giving off some Lane Johnson vibes. So that is kind of lame. And it was very light for offensive tackles. There's literally like a 1 or 2. Look at this. This was the thing that was brutal. 3 guys that are draftable in the first round, at least in terms of projections, which, you know, kind of just is what it is. So we just tried looking for some value there. Goldsberry had pretty good bench press numbers. Trey Cook. The letter grades look good. The talent, a little bit worrisome. We have Priestley here, who also put up pretty big bench press numbers with 38 reps. But it does look like it's a okay offensive tackle class. That will still be something we'll try. Maybe if one of these guys fall to us. But I'm not seeing a player that's good enough for us to be aggressive enough to trade up for. Honestly, I think out of all the linemen, the one that's the most interesting to me, and has a weird, maybe tackle profile, is Ted Stockton here at a Notre Dame. 6'5", so he has some length, 290. You know, 290, 295. That's where you start getting up to guys that could. But he has the 3 A's. I don't know what the run block is, but you look at it, he has great speed, elite change of direction, first in the bench press at 35. Like, he is absolutely one of the top priorities for me in this draft to make sure we get him. Defensively, I mean, when you have the pass rush we have, and they're all under contract, it's not the worst thing that we didn't get a good role in terms of big-time defensive talent. I think in terms of letter grades, Carlos Campbell's interesting because he's 6'6", 317, so he's that tweener between a nose tackle and a guy that just will play standard, and he's a great athlete as well. Has great acceleration, good speed, great strength, very interesting numbers. But again, like, this is one of those drafts where it's like the guys that are 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round. Those are the ones that are really interesting. Like, look, Jose Gilmore, 3 A's, pursuit, tackle, zone coverage, 6'1", 236. And he's also pretty legit, 4.66, probably on the cutoff of how fast you want. Again, he's getting compared to outside linebackers, which are usually edge rusher numbers. But, I mean, hey, he looks pretty goddamn promising. And it's not going to be an expensive player. So I think this very well could not end up being a draft where, you know, we trade down. I'm not saying we trade out of the first round for sure, but all the value seems to be in day 2. And we want to accumulate as many day 2 picks as we possibly can. We have Scott Bailey here. Looks pretty solid. Has elite agility, change of direction. Jason McGraw for a UDFA player getting A zone, A tackle, and he has elite speed. jumping, acceleration. Could be fool's gold sometimes, especially linebackers. Very similar to the offensive linemen. They'll have really good grades, test well in certain categories, and be fool's gold. But Jason McGraw, this is why you study. This is why you dig deep. You find some players. I think he could be a great stud for us and a great find. Back end of the defense, yep. Usually, you get great roles at corner, but we're using Mr. Hurricane's draft settings. He did the legwork that I trust, and it kind of did nerf the corner room because before you'd get 4, 5, 6 corners easy that look like studs. We do have Eldrick Clemens, who looks nice, first rounder, A-zone, B catching, 6'2", athletically speaking. Not brutal, not amazing, does have elite acceleration. The safety room, this is actually our, which one? Maybe it's Harris. The most recent mock draft either had us, yeah, it was definitely Harris. We got Mike Bowl here. Our current projected at the final pick of the first round right now is Dante Harris as of mock draft 3. And again, he looks solid, 5'10", 196. Jalen Thompson, veteran, getting up there in age at 28, getting close to his ceiling. So maybe safety is a position we think about. B zone, B tackle, B hit power. The combine, he skipped it, which, I mean, in older Madden, this would mean an automatic draft pick. He's got to be like a superstar dev. But it just gives us a little less information to go off of. You just got to trust the base ratings there. And seeing solid for speed, you know, I'm an athlete first kind of guy. Give me that high RAS. You know, a little bit of a risky pick, if you will. So there are some players I for sure want. It's just near the top of the draft board. I'm not in love. Like, this could be a draft, especially if I can get multiple second, third round picks this year. You know, maybe we'll trade up. Maybe get some team that wants to trade up and get that 5th-year option by coming in the first round. Because looking at our roster as we go into free agency and for the draft, where do we need to get better? I do, as much as we do like Clayton Tune, I do think like a young upside backup quarterback could be interesting. We do have a couple QBs in the draft. I don't think we'll go through free agency and spend money there. But we could go there. Definitely need depth at running back. But again, you're not going to pay a premium price because it's going to be all Bonds. And when Bonds, who is injury prone, goes down, we already know Calvin Austin can step up and be a dynamic role player for us. So maybe we grab a cheap running back in free agency and then draft one late to kind of flush out that room just a little bit. Wide receiver, we have more than enough depth. Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, Archibald. We got role players, you know, Hilliard there, Dev Trait, 6'5" from last year's draft class. Michael Wilson's made some plays. He was the standout from preseason last year. Thought he might step up to have a big role. We have the speed there of Tyquan Thornton, 6'2" at 97. You know, again, if a wide receiver falls into our lap in the first round, you know, maybe it's, you know, as long as Hollywood Brown's under contract, I don't think we need to invest any more here at receiver, and that's also including tight ends because we have the best tight end league. But Hollywood Brown is 29, so he's getting up there in age a little bit. Got to pay attention, but I mean, we're stacked at tight end. Don't got to worry about it. Left tackle with letting DJ Humphries hit the open market. I mean, Jake Witt has been a nice project player for us. Outstanding athlete out of Northern Michigan. Developmental tackle in every sense of the word. He was like a 64 when we got him up to a 74. 6'7" with elite athleticism. Again, 76 speed, 79 acceleration, 82 strength. You know, look, his pass block finesse is off the charts. Honestly, we could probably go with him at left tackle. If, you know, we get to that scenario where we had to trade up to get a tackle that's worth drafting in the first round. You know, I don't necessarily know if I want to get pressured into that kind of situation. And we got Witt. We can also look at free agency potentially, but we feel good there. Dotson's getting up there in age a little bit, kind of expensive, but he was easily my best lineman. I don't know how many pancakes he was throwing. Love Kevin Dotson. We feel good at center. We got depth there. We feel good at right guard. We feel good, real good at right tackle. We're going to have to pay Paris Johnson. And that is something to think about, you know, on the upcoming contracts and maybe not going insane this free agency. You know, I am usually I show good self-restraint in free agency, be it rebuilds and my main channel franchise, stuff like that, because I always want to prioritize keeping that extra money for a rainy day when we got to pay our own players. And Paris Johnson is one of those names up on the horizon that we're going to have to figure out. We have Ojulari, who's going to cost $1 trillion, but I feel real good about our pass rush. Maybe get some depth at pass rush. More so, injury. If one of these guys go down, we are very, very stricken in terms of depth, so that's something we need to look at. We feel good on the inside, though. So much talent there. I mean, we might even just need to explore trades just to flip some surplus requirements here. I mean, Duval, honestly, could be a D-end hybrid, like using like Cam Jordan. We have the human-animal hybrid here to Alex Jones. I mean, could also be a trade candidate. Milton Williams, another guy, tweener, D-tackle, edge rusher, could play both those positions. So, I don't know. Maybe we throw a couple of these guys up on the I don't know, man. I don't really feel like we need to be hard-pressed to making any trades right now because we're not hard up for picks. We're not hard up for salary. It'd just be like just moving guys for the sake of moving guys. And for that, I feel like we're all right. I feel good at linebacker, across the board. We have some depth. I feel good in secondary. C.J. Henderson had to play some reps as depth. He was great. We have decent depth beyond that. In the safety room, Jalen Thompson with the great Keith Taylor. Delpit, Rutledge, who's a nice developmental player from us. Did he lose his dev trait, though? He hasn't been playing, which sucks. He was a dev trait safety for us from our first draft class who possessed an insane 99 hit power. Just not playing, though, unfortunately. But, again, complete roster. And I think for free agency, unless it's a move that's, honestly trending towards, that's a fun thing to do, I don't think there's any reason to really spend a lot of money. But for the draft, definitely some depth that we can look at. Pass rush depth, left tackle, another running back, a developmental quarterback. But, this is the downside of being a perfect team. We're not going to be able to have a gigantic offseason because we don't have insane amount of money. B, we don't need to. We're good to go. We're ready to run it back. So as far as backup quarterback is here, there is some fun ones there for sure, but they're not going to be cheap. Malik Willis, Zach Wilson would be cool, but again, I don't want to, we're looking at throw power here. I mean, Malik Willis, I wonder if we can lowball him. I wonder how low you'd have. I'd love to get this cap hit. Let's see if we can lowball him. Because this would be one of those things where, maybe in a perfect world, we would be able to get a quarterback late. But if Kyler Murray went down to injury, how we play with Kyler Murray, the rhythm that we get into, which is a mobile quarterback that can throw on the run, this could be a hindsight thing where we're we don't really want to pay Malik Willis. If he went down, I think the first thing that would come to our mind is shit. What if we should have just got Malik Willis because he could be able to come in, operate the offense, fun player to utilize, have experience playing with them from Pink Slips last year. We got a 2-bar offer. Maybe we can make it happen. For running back, we only have 2 on the roster, but they're looking pretty expensive, man. Any running back that's looking legit, unless we gamble on a real low ball offer, looking like it's going to be $4 to $3.5 million per year. Got Chuba Hubbard there, which, Canadian bias, that'd be tough to not throw him a bone. I think it might just be more cost efficient to go in free agency because or in the draft, because we got 2 day 3 picks at running back that look pretty good. Big name here at wide receiver with Jalen Waddle hitting the open market. But again, for wide receiver, this is just a spot where I think we'll get depth as it comes. Ooh, Quez Watkins redemption arc, even though Quez kind of asked right now, IRL, not great vibes. Claypool has no offers. Maybe that'll be something we come back day 2. See if we can utterly lowball him, especially for what he was able to build. Laviska Shenault from our Panther series last year was awesome for us. Ooh. Speaking of Canadian bias. Definitely, definitely some guys here that, not you, definitely some guys here that are very interesting at wide receiver. Denzel Mims. We got some speed here. Anthony Schwartz. I love my burners. Justin Ross. Cephas Hive, where you at? Some fun names here. I would say out of all these ones, I do like, we just don't need to spend the money. I would love to get John Mechie. Canadian, awesome story. Had cancer, beat cancer. But look, he's also looking for $5 million a year. He's going to be our wide receiver 4? It's a little irresponsible, considering I want to show some self-restraint and keep some money for next year. Now, tackle is the biggest need. We're good everywhere else on the offensive line. Humphreys is 77. He's the 3rd highest rated. You got to remember, Jake Witt with the boost is a 76. So that's kind of what you need to compete against. We have him on an affordable contract. Ronnie Stanley would be interesting, but not at $30 million a year. And then kind of looking for the rest of the offensive line. Are there guards that can play tackle? Walker Little can play tackle, but again, he's not going to be better than Jake Witt. We're good on the inside. Connor Williams, another guy, started as a tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. Got Cam Jurgens there at center, but we're good at center. Jonah Williams, at once upon a time, was a tackle. Now 85 guard. God damn, he's developed nicely. Right tackle, you got Cam Robinson. Again, not a huge... Evan Neal would be like the interesting one. But even then, he's looking for $10 million a year, and he's only 2 points better than Jake Witt. And Jake Witt has, you know, he's been in the building. Bernard Raymond, another guy, first round, was he a first round pick, second round pick, high round pick from the Colts, still has that dev trait. AJ Jackson, Canadian. Oh, a lot of Canadians. Spencer Brown, freak athlete as well. But I think, again, I'm good. Now, I said I was worried about our pass rush depth, so I'm going to look at guys that you would probably guess I'd want to take a look at. First is Barno. He's now 27 years old, only a 67 overall. But he is a tried, tested, and true player that I know can thrive in my scheme. Speaking of, we need a lot more depth. I'm also going to throw a little bit of a low ball offer because he's kind of a niche player. But Christian Harris, I'm a big fan of what I saw IRL for DeMeco Ryans in that Texas defense. An elite athlete, an elite player, 91 acceleration. He is technically right now a speed rusher. He's a 78 speed rusher archetype. So for us, he'd be a little bit of a hybrid player. And I think a perfect depth piece and or competition with Zaven Collins, because Zaven Collins obviously brings a little bit of complete linebacker, can rush the passer. So it's a little bit of depth. It's an expensive depth piece, but I think it would be, again, much like Malik Willis. Maybe it's a little more than I'd want to spend, but if we have one of our linebackers go down, be it Owen Papo, be it Quentin Silas, be it Zaven Collins, if we have Christian Harris, I feel like it's a guy that's like, all right, we're excited. We're excited to see what he can do versus not paying that money and then just having some no-name guy that we drafted day 3 in the draft. And we're pretty good at safety. Kind of looking at, there's some interesting names, but like I don't even need depth at safety. I got Honey Badger there, Thornhill, Daxton Hill hitting the market. Like that's a guy that could make the most of a second opportunity at corner. One of the big dogs in this class is Jalen Ramsey at corner. Kyer Elam has actually developed really, really nicely here. Buffalo Bills fan, maybe a little sad. See that he's not hitting that in real life. Gator bias, tugging at my heartstrings a little bit. But I mean, we are so stacked in the secondary. It would be no other way to put it than irresponsible to spend any money right now because we have enough depth that we could have a couple injuries like we've had all year. You know, we lost, you know, Kenny Hodges for how many weeks for the playoff stretch? We're able to find a way to endure and play because we had depth. We were battle tested. We lost none of that depth. So I think, you know, we're probably where we want to be with free agency. Maybe if someone slips into the, you know, the next wave, we can jump on them. But as it stands right now, getting some pass rush help, linebacker depth, and a backup quarterback. That's about all I'd want to go. We still have the top bids. Great. Christian Harris. I mean, it's a lot of money for a guy that's not going to start. That would be as high as I'd go. Does put us in the pull spot. We do get Christian Harris. Not bad. Day 2 of free agency. Willis is still waiting to see. The market's not great. And usually with that 2-bar, we take that to day 3. We should be able to get him to sign. We got Barno in, though. And our pass rush now has depth. Looking at some of the other big signings, at least, Jalen Ramsey joins the division, going to Seattle. Jalen Waddle joins the NFC, going to the New Orleans Saints. Ronnie Stanley to the Patriots. Jalen Phillips to the Rams, joining the division. I guess in terms of upside and youth, might be one of the biggest names in free agency here. Superstar pass rusher. Wow, man, the Rams are spending. Cam Robinson, 86 tackle. Okay. I see you. The most recent mock drafts has us going for an offensive tackle in Tyson McLean. Just showing you the grades here. I mean, yeah. That's honestly, if he's there, I'd take that. Add some competition with Jake Witt at that left tackle spot. Because of the Christian Harris signing, does have Chad Muma, 73, still only 26, has some upside. So I'm able to ship him off to the Texans, who lost Christian Harris for a 5th-round pick. So it just gives us a little bit more ammunition in day 3 of the draft, where there's some of those guys we definitely want to try to target. The final mock draft has us staying put with Tyson McLean, the tackle out of Auburn. All right, let's go. We got the draft. Pick 32. Might as well just, I mean, I guess we'll give the shine where we need to. First overall pick ends up being Bruce Thompson, quarterback out of BYU. Hopefully better than the last quarterback picked high out of BYU. Offensive tackle Dante Robinson, who looks legit. Like, if I had to say number 1 player I would want in the draft, it would have been Dante Robinson. He goes number 2. Amari Barrett of Florida goes 3 to the Commanders. 4, who we're dealing with in the division, a new quarterback for Seattle, Enrique Williams, out of Central Florida. Interesting. And to round out the top 5, the Detroit Lions go offensive tackle. Now let's sim all the way to pick 32, Tyson McLean, the tackle out of Auburn is the man that everyone thinks we're going to get. Our scouting says probably the best guy that we're going to get at pick 1. Jerry Davis, don't, even though there's interesting profile there, 6'4", we don't need a wide receiver. He looks like a legit first rounder. Maybe you would love to see maybe at better like a round 1 talent. My concern with Tyson McLean, and it's the big risk anytime you want to draft a lineman, and I am a little bit pumped that his college pro day did have him second in bench press. Makes that number look a little bit better. It's just you get a lineman with no dev trait, you're pretty much stuck with that no dev trait. You know, it's unless you get that weird finicky role of lineman of the year. You know, it's a bit of a bummer. Now, what the hell happened here, man? I used my additional 3 scouting. One was on Stockton. I got no completion percentage on him. I used one on Stockton. I used one on the outside linebacker here, which I got fucking ripped off. I mean, yeah, for first rounders, they actually gave me Dante Harris for some reason. He looks pretty good. But again, we don't have a current starting left tackle. We don't really want to give the job right away to Witt. We're not just going to talk for the sake of talking. It's a pretty easy selection. I will say I'm worried that's going to be a normal dev. If we do get a dev trait, going to be very happy with it. Love the first names. Name my son. Is this destiny? Give me the dev trait. Let's go. Tyson McLean, potentially a new franchise left tackle. But with that size, you know, that makes me think we take Paris Campbell. And by Paris Campbell, I don't mean the wide receiver. I mean Paris Johnson. Both Ohio State alumni. Maybe take Paris Johnson, move him to left tackle, and Tyson McLean at 6'4", 325. That is more of a right tackle build, historically speaking. Maybe we'll do something like that. We had to sit and wait a minute here to pick 32 in the second round, going back to our favorites in terms of players that need to be in this range. Second, third round. We have both our second, third round picks. We have Matthew Gordon at guard. We got Alex McGee at running back. We do need depth at running back. The Triple A's is pretty enticing. Ted Stockton, I think that's a guy we want to wait till the third round. Gilmore at linebacker, you'd love to wait. Like, this might be, like, if we can get an early third round pick and something else. I think we explore trading out of this pick. We have Scott Bailey, second rounder, has the A pursuit, A zone coverage. We feel pretty good about our linebacker depth. Athletically speaking, not that exciting. And I mean, look at the rest. We just got our late round players. But then the question is, you know, we got these guys that we want. In a perfect world, Stockton, Gilmore, and probably the running back. If I had to just giving where our team's at needs. All those guys be members of our squad. Let's see what a trade looks like. If not, I think we just stay true to our board. I think we go Stockton first if we can't get out of this pick. And then I would prioritize probably the linebacker next. And the laughable offers. Absolute laughable. The only one that's even remotely made me think about it for a second was the Vikings offering us a third and a fourth. But that's a late third, man. Like, where I make that trade, I might miss out on multiple guys. So I think the best case here, we'll keep our pick. We'll go on the offensive line just because if I had to look at where I'm worried about regression next on our squad, it would be Kevin Dotson at guard. And the fact that we kind of got, in my opinion, a movable piece in Ted Stockton with the Triple A's. I think there's just a little bit more value to having this guy on a rookie contract and where he could fill in across the offensive line. So Ted Stockton, you are an Arizona Cardinal. No dev trait, though. That stings, but I think we're definitely going to be talking about a player that is going to have, look at that, A awareness, A impact block, A pass block finesse. Very interesting profile. Should be 70+. All right, we stayed put for the third round. I think this is where I would maybe consider starting to look at trading up. The bad news is the linebacker that I was interested off the board. That has been the position that has just not has players fall to us. There's been a couple drafts in a row. The one play that I hope's still there that isn't usually tends to be a linebacker. So give it the board. The running back is still on there. We need some depth. He brings power. That's also the dynamic that we want. Obviously, Roosevelt Bonds is a power back stylistically, but he has a lot more speed. Kind of a do-it-all. Then you got the finesse, the agility, the speed, the gadgetry of Calvin Austin. Looks like we're getting a pure power back here. And Alex McGee. A, ball carrier vision. A, break tackle. A, carrying. The physical, 4.49. Has elite strength. You know, A, stiff arm. A, trucking. This guy looks absolutely incredible. Add him to the rotation. Hell freaking yeah. We're back with the dev traits, baby. A powerhouse out of Texas. Now in the 4th round, looking for some day 3 projection. Got a lot of UDFAs that look good. We don't need the running back anymore. I feel good about our wide receiver depth. I mean, we did miss out on the linebacker, but we have the UDFA linebacker, which I'm a little more intrigued by than, say, someone like James Richards. And I feel, you know, if we do go linebacker, I think the option for us right now, we do have Nick Peterson here out of USC, has the double Bs athletically, does have a very interesting, but I mean, 4.7. I think we go linebacker, it's going to be a Gral. The double A's, the athletic profile, looked pretty damn good. We're not going to wait too much longer, too. We're definitely going to have to overdraft them. But in terms of guys that are day 3, it's going to come down. Either we go D-tackle, which we're absolutely stacked at D-tackle right now. I don't know where Carlos Campbell would fit in, even though he looks like a hell of a player. Or we look at depth at safety, where we have Keith Taylor. We're maybe a little bit. I think Mike Bull got to be the pick here. No Dev. Ohio State. I think he's kind of a safe pick. I don't think he's, one of those guys that's probably going to be high 60s. Could creep up to like a 70. The double 90s there for speed. Usually safeties are all on the slower end, I've noticed. So, looks like a solid player. Should contribute on special teams. The perfect world, the D-tackle is still going to be available here. He is off the board. So, I mean, out of all the players that are left, the linebacker is the one out of all the UDFAs that I think I would want the most. Just in terms of upside, I do think maybe a quarterback would be the most valuable, but I'd like to think we can come back for a quarterback. I love the athletic profile. We'll go Jason McGraw here, and hopefully we didn't get lied to. Linebackers can lie to you. There's a chance that he's like a 65 overall after everything we saw with the double A and the athletic profile, but hopefully he's a nice little player. We got some great value there. Now this is our final pick of the NFL draft. And looking at our board, I knew the quarterbacks were going to be gone. I knew it. We would be able to grab one. All right. When in doubt, you go with the biggest freak that we got. For all these, we got 6'6", 287 Aaron Gunn, double C's with the B power move, elite strength with 38 reps, everything else, not the best. Goldsberry, A impact, B run block, C pass block, 6'7", with 37 reps on the bench, pretty good. Taven Hurd, just... elite acceleration, pass. Gerald Wheeler, 6 feet tall. A, catching traffic, B, catching. Everything else, kind of ugly. Kind of fast as well. Alexander does have the highest bench press for a guard. Letter grades, not crazy. A, pass block on a center UDFA. Not a good combine. Chad Priestley, big-time bench press numbers here. Tops for a tackle. Not bad grades. We got the double Bs on Darius Franklin. Great profile as well at 6'6", 271 out of South Carolina. Pretty good combine as well. He's the leader right now. Yeah, I feel good. Anytime there's a good special teamer, we will tab him up. I think we'll go with the pass rusher here with our final selection of what has been a good, but maybe not to the standard of our previous draft classes. Darius Franklin, you are an Arizona Cardinal. All right, drum roll, please. See how well we did. I feel good about it. Maybe not as many dev traits as we've had in years past. Also, we were picking and like I told you, the linebackers, man, they lie to you. Double A, especially when you get that zone coverage, you feel good. The athleticism looks great. It's just the outside linebackers. He's a speed rusher archetype. Just it's a weird player, man. Franklin, 67, 66 for the safety Boyle. But look at that, 75 for McGee. That is huge. He's going to be able to immediately step into our rotation for a power back. 89 speed, 91 acceleration. Reminds me of Roosevelt Bonds, honestly, a little bit. 72 catching. That's a hell of a pick out of Texas. Stockton at center for a guy that, again, AAA, good combine, 71. That's a little low. I thought he might be 72, 73. 71's not the best. Tyson McLean, 73. Hidden dev. It's tough to get linemen unless you're picking top 5. This is probably the run-of-the-mill what you'd get, and I think we're just very happy that we got the dev trait role. That's the most important thing on an offensive lineman, just because you don't get them so much in real life. Looking at the rest of the draft, more so from the top end, and then we will look at the players we wanted to. We were worried for a second. It's like, oh man, Seattle went out. They got themselves a QB. One of the, oh my god, that's a Daniel Jones type pick. 65 normal dev, top 5 pick. Sure, cannon of an arm. They fell for the elite throw power. They got freaking Jamarcus Russell. That is a win for within the division. And looks like the big dog here is going to the Saints. Bruce Thompson, 6'5", 235 at a BYU, 83. You can only imagine what that dev trait's going to be. 98 throw power. The accuracies look great. Kind of mobile. That is an absolute stud of a pick. Anyone else crazy ratings? Battles there, 77 running back. Pretty nice picks. What about within the division? Seattle, after that, they got Steve Rogers, 72 safety with a dev trait. Okay. 71 running back, late. Javier Bates out of Notre Dame, but that's a bad draft, man. You can't walk away with that at quarterback and feel good about it. The Rams, who spent big in free agency, solid draft. They got a 73 hitting dev tackle, Paul Lowry. They got a 70 wide receiver, Jonathan Pleasance out of Maryland with some good speed there. 93 speed, 95 acceleration. They got a guard with a dev trait, and Josh Kavanaugh. And they finish up with a 70 wide. I mean, good draft there from the Rams. They're looking to make a big move within the division in terms of competitiveness. And then finishing up with the Niners, who had a whole lot of draft picks. Obviously, some of these guys could have devs. But at least at face value, they got Johnny Goodwill, 72 hidden dev linebacker, scheme fit pass cover. He looks pretty good for a team that just kind of shits out good linebackers. They got a 72 guard, Kevin Love. Okay, plays for the Cavs. And they got a 72 tight end, a successor potentially for George Kittle in Dexter Rice. Well, honestly, looks kind of average. So, I mean, while I don't love my draft class, our draft class doesn't look super OP compared to the rest of the division. You know, we're all kind of in the same ballpark. All right, so looking at the players that I was considering. We have Jose Gilmore. He was the linebacker that I was very interested in. The profile looks great. 86 tackle, 84 speed, 80 acceleration, 84 pursuit. Just wasn't a position we need. We feel good about our linebacker depth. Because this was a guy that clearly I wanted to get, I am going to sneak a little peek at the dev traits. Only a star, not the end of the world. Carlos Campbell at D-tackle was really the other big fish that I wanted to try to get in a perfect draft that didn't come to our lap. Pause. And 71, normal dev. Solid player, 90 strength. Some pretty good mobility as well for that fringe nose tackle. Coming with 70 speed, 83 acceleration. Nice little pick there for Detroit. We'll say now just kind of trying to analyze the draft class, looking for value in the 4th round for the Commanders. They got themselves a 75 corner. No dev trait, but at 6'2". That's an outstanding value. I'm trying to think, like, did our running back, our power back with a dev trait, is he the best value pick? Even though Hickson doesn't have a dev trait, that's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more of a premium position as well as a corner. So I'm going to have to veto my own decision. Our plan was, because of more so size and upside and how you think about, a left tackle, was like, all right, McLean at 6'4", we'll move him to right tackle, and then we'll go with the big dog, Paris Johnson, and move him to left tackle, which I think, obviously, Cardinals in real life probably drafted him to be their franchise left tackle. However, how our offense operates, the right tackle is more important to me. Because when we bail out of the pocket with Kyler Murray, we're going to that right hand side. That's why his sacks are so high the first year. Because we scrambled an insane amount, and it was always his side. So he just wasn't his fault. He wasn't getting beat like a drum. It was just, that is the side that Kyler Murray would get sacked on, because that's the side that we always try to scramble and extend plays and make off-script plays. But the way that we've been able to do that, and he cut it down, 8 sacks allowed. I think there's more value for him to be our right tackle, to have our best tackle to be our right tackle, because that is where we go with Kyler Murray, try to operate and create magic, than it is that left tackle spot. So we are going to keep Paris Johnson Jr. at that right tackle spot. I think what I just said makes sense, right? All right. This feels like tradition at this point. Maybe the greatest tackle drill player in the history of Madden 24. Owen Papa, who's got more gold medals than Kurt Angle with a broken neck and Michael freaking Phelps in this drill. You get a gold medal, you get a shot at a dev trait. Owen Papa deserves to be a superstar dev player. They patched this, though. This has definitely got more difficult than where it was a month or two ago. I've noticed out of all the drills, this one here, it used to be like automatic. You could just constantly roll, stack the multiplier. I feel like it's got more difficult. But also, maybe it's just my team's better. As my team's better, as we get Roosevelt Bonds in the backfield, say, versus where we used to have, a slower running back in James Conner. Maybe that's why it makes it a little more difficult. But out of everybody on this roster, maybe outside of Kyler Murray, who got eventually his dev traits in season, getting his X Factor, Owen Popo has been like our one true from the ground up, God damn it, project player that we want to see thrive, that we want to see get dev traits. Usually you can get 2 mulligans, 2 broken tackle mulligans. What happened there? Come on, man. Let's get this multiplier back up. We need, what, 30,000? So we are going to have to get a lot of TFLs back here behind the line of scrimmage. Get that multiplier up to 5, 6, 7. There we go. Good angle right there, buddy. Come on, 20 seconds. Clock is a-ticking. We're going early. Trying to go with the cut tackle. Which usually works, but can't break out that. We're finishing them one strong here. Come on, baby. Come on, keep with the tosses. Keep with the C4 specials. Let's go. We got that gold. And we have an opportunity for Popo here. Oh, that's sloppy. We might actually lose this. Okay, no, we're going to be good. We got it. But we have a chance here for Popo to get that superstar dev. And that would be a monumental moment in this franchise history, knowing that he started, what, like a 66 normal dev. We started him over guys that were more established, more ready to contribute. But we said he was going to be special. He was going to be our guy. He was going to be our user. Do you get a dev trade up to a superstar? No. To close out training camp, the best to ever do the DB battle drill. Show some respect. And we'll do it live. No restarts. We're going to prove once again Keith Taylor is the best to ever do this. There we go. Usually he catches that. Usually that's punished with an interception. But he is the king of running routes. Oh, that's a good pass. Psych! Oh, come on, Keith, with the bricks! He got the set of Jalen Rager mitts. The Nike Ragers, Air Rager gloves. Look at that. Running it for him. Silver, 5 reps to go. Now, this is something like Keith, good teammate, man. He knows we got the young buck here, Archibald. You want to give him a shot. You want to give him confidence. But it's sometimes... when the leaders, you need to remember, Keith Taylor's back there on the depth chart. There you go. You let him get one. He's back on the depth chart. He's now here for the locker room aspect. He's basically an extra coach on the staff. He knows. Let's dominate here a little bit, but let's also give the young guy, the young buck, a little confidence going into the season. As we are, we brought up the age of Hollywood Brown. He's getting up there. Archibald, similar play style, similar build. Like, it's almost like that's the succession plan for Hollywood Brown, is Archibald. So we know that there's a bigger picture at store. But every now and again, you gotta remind everyone why Keith Taylor is an absolute legend. And from that, we get our gold medal upgrades here, which we feel real happy about. Papo, Kyler, House, 2 for Archibald headlining. The guys that are making strides at any time. Especially him coming off that injury. Missed the Super Bowl. Probably pretty bummed out about that. So to get his confidence back up to speed, for him to get 2 points here on top of everyone else, locks a new deep threat ability slot. A win. That's a big. We definitely want to work on that short route running a little bit. That's we put him in the slot. But we're looking good. We're feeling good. We're playing good. But I'm out of time here, fellas. It's the preseason. We will have that to we'll summarize the preseason, and we'll kick off week 1 of the regular season in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching. As always, if your first time stopping by, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.